Hello dear all, I'm Rozmuradova Zarifa Gafuruna, the teacher of Foreign Language Department of Pedagogical Institute of Bucharest State University. Today I'm going to introduce you direct and indirect speech which can be taught in grammar lessons. So let's see, here we can see rules, practice and questions. First of all, let's define what is direct and what is indirect speech. We can use direct speech when we want to report someone's exact word and when we want to report the general meaning of what someone said. In this case, we can use indirect speech or reported speech. So, there are two ways of reporting what somebody said, as I have mentioned above. The first is direct speech and the second is indirect or reported speech. In the text, we put speech marks around the words spoken. Speech marks are also called inverted commas. So, direct and indirect speech is divided into three types, namely command, statement, questions. Command: we must add the word to in indirect sentence. For example, the doctor asked me stay in bed for a few days. Let's see as an indirect form. The doctor asked me to stay in a bed for a few days. Here we can add the preposition to here. So, statement: there are some changes from direct into indirect speech. We often move the tense of verb one step back in reported speech because the original words happened before the reported speech, and mostly the form of modal verbs can also be changed into past form. For instance, can, could, may, might, must, have to, had to, and etc. So, and about tense, if we stop to talk, present tense will be changed to past, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, and past tense, past perfect tense, and like this it goes on. So, and also adverbs or adverb of time, place also can be changed, like here and there, this, that, these, those, now, then, and etc. So let's see such changes in examples. One by one we will discuss here. For instance, in direct speech, Yuka said, I can speak English. In indirect speech, when we want to change or to report Yuka's saying, we can say Yuka said that he could speak in English. Here we can see can, change it to could. The next sentence, direct speech. Hendra said I'm married. In indirect, Hendra said that he was married. Like this. Or reported speech in present tense, no change. In present says we should pay attention to this tense, no change in tense. It means if direct speech comes in present, the change of the tenses or modals or adverbials, no seen here. For instance, Tom says I study English every day. In indirect speech, Tom says that he studies in English every day. We can see the same tense here. So John says I'm eating bread now. John says that he's eating bread now. We have mentioned about question form also. In indirect speech we use if or whether. Their conjunctions if the question in the form of yes and no. For instance, in direct speech, the man asked me, "Can you speak English?" If it want to change into indirect speech, the man asked me if I could speak English, or the man asked me whether I could speak English. No difference which one we want to put, if or whether. The next sample says direct. He asked me, "Do you live near here?" In indirect, he asked me if I lived near there, or he asked me whether I lived near there. We can see changing in both adverb of time and tense here. Why? Because we have here past form of the verb asked. So let's continue. In direct speech, he asked me, "Where do you live?" Let's imagine, let's do. In direct speech, he asked me where I lived. We can see here also the step into back, one step. So do you live is present simple, but when we reported these sentences, we used past simple here, like I lived, not live. Yes, so I think it's clear. Now turn to advantage and disadvantage of each type of speech. Direct speech can show what character is like, and long speech can be boring. It's somehow disadvantage of this tense, this rule. Too many speakers can confuse the reader. Direct speech can add variety to writing. Indirect speech can be summarized briefly so that it doesn't slow down the pace of action, and it also can show a contrast between what character is saying and what he or she is thinking. So, and we also can use speech in our writing. Using speech in fiction, non-fiction writing adds variety. However, writing out long piece of direct speech can make our writing confusing. It also slows down the actions. And punctuating in direct speech. When using direct speech, we have to write which we need to use the correct punctuation. The exact words spoken must be enclosed in speech marks. The first word of the speech must begin with a capital letter. The words in the speech marks must be separated from the rest of the tense by a comma, or we must use a new line when a new speaker begins to speak. So all in all, today we have seen with you direct and indirect speech with samples and in detail with their changings. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.
Direct and indirect speech. Direct speech is also known as coded speech. It is saying exactly what the person had said. Direct speech uses quotation marks. In direct speech, the verb tenses do not change since we just copy what the person had said. Take note of the following examples. I am 12 years old. Let's assume that the speaker of this sentence is a girl. So the direct sentence should be, she said, I am 12 years old. Or you can also say, I am 12 years old, she said. If you've noticed, the verb tense doesn't change. Another one, can you give me some food? The speaker of the sentence is a boy. So the direct sentence is, he said, can you give me some food? Or, can you give me some food? He said. The next one, get out. The speaker of the sentence is Mrs. Spencer. So the direct sentence is, Mrs. Spencer said, get out. Or, Get out, Mrs. Spencer said. The last one. We will have a vacation this summer. The speaker of the sentence is a girl. So the direct sentence is, she said, we will have a vacation this summer. Or, we will have a vacation this summer, she said. Next is indirect speech. Indirect speech is also known as reported speech. It doesn't use quotation marks. What the person said doesn't need to be word for word. And the thing about indirect speech is that the verb tenses change. But we will be discussing that in the next lessons. Examples: I am hungry. The speaker in the sentence is a girl. So the indirect speech is, she said that she was hungry. Using that here is optional. It's up to you whether to use it or not. You can say, she said that she was hungry. Or you can also say, she said she was hungry. And if you've noticed, the verb tense changed. From am, it changed into was. But we will know about that soon. The next one. I am going to the bank. The speaker of the sentence is Mary. The indirect speech is, Mary said that she was going to the bank. Or, Mary said she was going to the bank. Another one. My teacher told me to study harder. The indirect speech is, her teacher had told her to study harder. The last one. Mom can't attend my graduation. The speaker of the sentence is Simon. So the indirect speech is, Simon said that his mom couldn't attend his graduation. For our exercise, correct the wrong sentences. The first one. She said that she was watching TV. What is wrong in this sentence? Can you correct it? The answer should be, she said that she was watching TV. This is an indirect speech, so the quotation marks are not necessary. The next one. I will buy a new car, Bob said. The answer is, I will buy a new car, Bob said. The quotation mark should be at the start of the sentence and after the word car, because those are the speaker's words. The next one. He said, let's watch the movie together. The correct sentence is, he said, let's watch the movie together. This is a direct speech. Let's watch the movie together is what the speaker said, so we need to put quotation marks at the start and end of it. Another one. His father told him that he had to take good care of his sisters. The correct sentence is, his father told him that he had to take good care of his sisters. This is an indirect speech, so the quotation mark is not needed. The last one. The doctor told him that he needs to rest. The answer is, the doctor told him that he needs to rest. This is also an indirect speech, so the quotation mark is not necessary. Did you get them right?